really don't care what happens to her at all. I don't care. Like, everybody they tiptoe around with this social media. But what y'all don't get is that it be real consequence for y'all little flexes, y'all quick flexes for $300 that you need. It be consequences.
No one expected this, especially not Teyana. She walked into court thinking it was going to be just another routine check-in, one of those legal steps you prepare for but never really worry about. She had even joked with her assistant on the way there, smiling politely as she entered the courtroom, holding her head high as always. But within moments, everything changed. Her eyes locked on the judge as he cleared his throat and began speaking. "We will now review Mr. Shumpert's motion for full custody," he announced. Her heart stopped. Her smile vanished. The blood seemed to drain from her face. Her mind raced, confused. What motion? How? When? She turned toward her lawyer with wide, panicked eyes and whispered, "What motion?" But no answer came fast enough. The betrayal hit her before the explanation did, and the room she thought was just another formality turned into the stage for the worst moment of her life. As her legal team scrambled through papers trying to figure out what they had missed, Teyana's body started to react. Her breathing grew unsteady. Her hands, always so strong and composed, trembled uncontrollably. She gripped the table in front of her, trying to steady herself. Then the judge began reading from Iman's motion. The words hit her like blows: unstable emotional environment, urgent legal action, video evidence of conflict. A quiet gasp escaped her lips. "He didn't even tell me," she murmured, barely audible. And then, her body gave out. She slumped forward, her knees buckling as she collapsed to the floor. The courtroom froze. No one moved. No one breathed. Even the judge looked stunned. Paramedics were called immediately, and as they rushed in, all anyone could hear was the echo of a mother breaking in real time. Every whisper, every stare in that courtroom felt like salt in an open wound. Her tears weren't just of shock, they were the painful realization that her world might be slipping away right in front of her. When the courtroom finally quieted and the filing was read aloud, the full weight of Iman's accusations was revealed. He claimed Teyana had created an unstable home environment, one that was damaging their daughter emotionally. He pointed to multiple incidents involving Aaron, incidents that had already shaken the family in public. He referenced therapy records, messages, and even security footage from their own home. Iman stated in the filing that he had no choice but to take action now, that he feared waiting any longer would cause their daughter more harm. He argued that while Teyana might love her child, she had lost control of the household. On paper, it all looked strategic, well documented, but the emotional punch was something else, especially since he hadn't warned her. Not even a call, not even a conversation. He let the courtroom deliver the news. For Teyana, that wasn't just a betrayal, it was a public humiliation. Inside Teyana's inner circle, the reaction was swift and furious. Her closest friends were in shock. Her team was scrambling. This was a low blow, one insider snapped. He ambushed her. People who had once respected Iman were now questioning his intentions. Was it about protecting their daughter, or was it about power? A family member said, if he really wanted peace, he would have had a conversation. He would have come to her first. What hurt the most was how recent events had made them look united. After Aaron's exit, Teyana and Iman had finally seemed like a team again. They had hugged it out in front of their daughter. They had made decisions together. And now, this silent legal ambush? It felt like a betrayal that might break her completely. Not just legally, but emotionally. Those closest to Teyana feared this wasn't just a custody move, it was something that could destroy her spirit. Word of what happened in the courtroom didn't stay private for long. Within hours, someone leaked the story, and by morning, the internet had erupted. What started as a legal decision quickly turned into an online wildfire. Social media timelines were flooded with opinions, hot takes, assumptions, and raw emotion. People didn't just react, they picked sides, argued, judged, and dissected every possible detail. Fans aligned themselves with either Iman or Teyana, and the divide was immediate. He did what he had to do for his daughter. One comment read, applauding Iman's bold move and praising his sense of duty as a father. But just as many others turned on him with equal intensity. Filing behind her back isn't fatherhood, it's war, someone else wrote. It was clear that no one was sitting this one out. The conversation wasn't passive. It was passionate, explosive, and, in many ways, deeply personal to those watching from the outside. Threads filled with thousands of replies began trending. Stories, live reactions, and breakdowns of the court documents became daily content. Everyone had a theory. Everyone had a feeling. Hashtags exploded across platforms, some supporting Iman, others defending Teyana. Memes were created almost instantly, some mocking, some mournful. This wasn't just a private custody case anymore. It had become a public spectacle, a headline, a trending moment that refused to fade. The story had gone viral not because of celebrity, but because of the human truth underneath it, the painful, complicated unraveling of a family. And for the first time in a long time, fans weren't just watching. They were emotionally invested. They saw reflections of their own childhoods, their own parenting choices, their own battles with love, trust, and responsibility. The noise was loud. Painfully loud. It became impossible to separate facts from feelings. Social media turned into its own version of a courtroom, where opinions were shouted louder than verified details and judgment came far before justice could ever be served. People were no longer simply observers. They were jurors, critics, armchair psychologists, and in some cases, executioners. For a while, the actual people involved in the case disappeared behind the chatter. They became symbols. Representations of everything from toxic masculinity to maternal failure, from protective parenting to strategic betrayal. But in the middle of all this chaos, of the hashtags and headlines, was a little girl. A child. Just trying to understand why the two people who are supposed to protect her seem to be pulling in opposite directions. Sources close to the family revealed that she's been deeply emotional since everything started. She's cried in private. She's asked questions no child should have to ask. She's begged for answers that no one has been able to give her. All she wants is peace. One moment, she was in a home with her mother. The next, she's at the center of a legal war she never agreed to be part of. Iman's legal team insists he's doing what's best. They say he can offer more structure, more stability. They believe he's stepping in before more damage can be done, before silence turns into long-term emotional harm. From their view, it's not an attack, it's protection. But Teyana's side tells a different story. They say she was trying to rebuild, that she'd made mistakes but was working hard to provide love and consistency for her daughter. They say she didn't even get a fair chance to respond before the papers were filed. She was blindsided, not just as a mother, but as a person. And now, because of how it was done, so suddenly, so silently, the fracture between the two parents may never fully heal. The court has ordered psychological evaluations. Experts are now involved to assess the child's mental and emotional state. Whatever happens next, whatever the legal outcome ends up being, will depend heavily on those findings. But even before a verdict is announced, the damage is visible. The trust between the parents is broken. And trust, once shattered, is almost impossible to piece back together. It's fragile. And in family matters, it's everything. Without it, even co-parenting becomes a battlefield. No matter how this ends legally, the emotional scars may linger much longer. This situation has grown far beyond a custody dispute. It has become a commentary on how people use power, how systems can be weaponized, and how deeply the desire to win can override the need to understand. Yes, Iman had every legal right to file. He may have even had valid concerns that led him to believe it was necessary. But the way he went about it, quietly, secretly, without discussion, left a mark deeper than any judge's decision. It wasn't just a legal move. It was a message. And that message cut deeply, especially to someone like Teyana, who has endured public scrutiny, private battles, and who has worked hard, maybe imperfectly, but honestly, to be a safe space for her child. Teyana didn't walk into that courtroom expecting an ambush. She walked in as a mother who believed she was doing her best. And she walked out feeling gutted, betrayed. Not just by the legal system, but by someone she once trusted enough to build a life with. The emotional aftermath left her gasping for air, crying behind closed doors, trying to process how everything had unraveled so quickly. She wasn't just fighting a legal battle now. She was fighting for her voice to be heard in a space that suddenly felt like it had turned its back on her. Iman, once seen as the steady hand in the storm, the father who showed up when it mattered most, now finds himself cast in a more complicated light. His actions are being interpreted not just as protective, but as strategic, calculated, cold. People are starting to question his motives, not because they doubt his love for his daughter, but because love shouldn't feel like war. And this felt like war. A quiet, paper-driven war disguised as concern. In the end, this case is no longer just about legal rights or court orders. It's about dignity. It's about truth. It's about two parents who once stood side by side, now standing across from each other in silence, while the child they both love stands in the middle. And that's the real tragedy of it all. That in the pursuit of what each parent believes is best, the child is forced to watch the people she loves most slowly turn into strangers. What's supposed to be about the well-being of a little girl has become a power struggle. A race to prove who can parent better, who has more control, who gets the final say. But parenting isn't supposed to be a contest. It's not supposed to be about winning. It's supposed to be about love, consistency, and safety. And right now, the only thing clear is that this child, this innocent, voiceless child, deserves better than being caught in the crossfire of a courtroom and a viral moment. No matter what the judge decides, the damage is already done. Now the real work begins, not in courtrooms, not on social media, but in healing, in listening, in putting the child first, truly, and without agenda. Because if they don't, all that will remain is bitterness, silence, and a little girl left wondering who she can trust. Was Iman wrong for filing in secret, or was it the only way he could protect his daughter without interference? Did Teyana collapse because of the shock, or because she knew, deep down, that she might lose everything? The pain in this story is raw. It's human, and it's real. Let us know your honest thoughts in the comments. Would you have done the same if you were in Iman's shoes? Or did he take it too far? Tap like if you believe no parent should ever be ambushed like that. And don't forget to subscribe for more real, raw celebrity courtroom chaos, unfolding right before our eyes.